Why Siri always be trying to get into some shit she ain't never supposed to be into? Like, nobody was talking to you. But Tommy, gang, the fuck is wrong with you? Tommy, I want to know what's wrong with you. What you mean? The hunt for Chicago. What you mean, nigga? You hunting serial killers now? And you making videos, nigga? I ain't gonna lie, you better hope you caught that nigga. Well, you tweaking. I ain't gonna lie, it's late as hell in this bitch where I'm at. I gotta chill, low key. I don't know, we just finna vibe turn. Watch this bitch. Shout out my nigga Tommy. Tommy's the GOAT. One of the best channels on YouTube in present day. No cap, low key of all time. He really doing it. But this nigga talking about some other shit right now. I ain't gonna lie, you talking about some other shit, Tommy. Ain't you in the what it say? Catch more bodies than a real Iraq, nigga. Every time you get to a point, Tommy, he gets to a point, dude. I ain't gonna lie, dude.
Strangulation cases that
strangle, and it's these crazy niggas too that really make you think about life.
Cases
like, what the fuck is wrong with you, nigga?
Of a serial killer.
Like, what's really
Dozens
wrong
of
with you,
women who
nigga?
were all strangled or asphyxiated. Their cases remain unsolved.
Serial killer.
First 48 ass cases. My bad. Let me quit yapping. It's the first 48 ass niggas, man.
Dozens
Body
of women
burned
who
to
were all
death.
strangled or asphyxiated. Their
That bit ain't
cases
funny, but you know what I
remain
mean.
unsolved.
A serial killer on the loose in Chicago.
A lady by the name of Tamala Edwards was found in 2210 in a garbage can just like this in this alley 20 years ago.
Their bodies were found in vacant lots, abandoned buildings, and alleys, dumped in garbage cans, and some even set on fire.
Why do you think they specifically targeted your mom?
Have you ever been abducted?
Yeah. He killed so many women, he don't know how many.
Is there...
Hold up, this nigga look familiar. Hold up.
Been abducted?
Yeah. He killed so...
Dog really do look familiar, though. I ain't gonna lie, but it be some wicked niggas out here, bro. I don't know what be wrong with niggas and their brains and like how they grew up and I don't know what gets niggas to this point, though. Like, this shit, like, the niggas who kill with no motives and shit like or like they motives is like make you think a nigga really crazy, like,
so many women,
I don't know what the fuck be wrong with niggas, you feel me?
That you think is doing the lion's share of the killing?
Yes.
In today's episode, we are investigating the infamous Chicago Strangler, a killer who some experts say has taken the lives of between 50 and 70 women over a nearly 2-decade period, making this person one of the...
It's really because these niggas don't get no hoes, though, but, like, I don't think getting no hoes ever get to the point of this, though. Like, you cannot get no hoes, gang, but, like, you get no hoes to the point where you killing hoes. You really ain't getting no hoes, nigga. Like, what you gonna do now, nigga? You wasn't getting hoes before, now you killing hoes. What you think you doing now, nigga? You never get no hoes, nigga.
50 and 70 women over a nearly 2-decade period, making this person one of the most prolific serial killers in American history. The killer's MO seems to be this. He tends to hunt primarily black women, many of them who are sex workers, and he kills them by strangulation after he lures them into alleyways on the south and west sides of Chicago. The question right off the bat is
strangulation is crazy. You know what nigga wanna
because I'm guessing for many of you watching, this is your first time hearing of a guy who, to put it in perspective, may have killed 3 to 4 times more people than Jeffrey Dahmer. To properly dive into this, we assembled a cast of experts. First, Mike Hammond, a retired Chicago homicide detective who has put dozens of murderers behind bars in his career. Next, Thomas Hargrove, the founder of the Murder Accountability Project, an organization with the country's most complete accounting of unsolved murders. And Thomas is known as a guy that can algorithmically predict with a high degree of
that nigga knows Tiny Ozzy. Hey, ain't gonna say nothing. That nigga knows. Look at that nigga nose. I can't. Look at that nigga nose. I wasn't gonna say that. Cause you know most niggas like of the Caucasian race be having them thangies, but it's shit. Shout out to bro though. It's shit cooler. It's shit cooler. It's shit little as hell.
Then we got Reverend Hood, a pastor and community leader who has built a network supporting survivors of Strangler victims. And Reverend Hood
this nigga look
claims to
familiar
have
though.
sat face to face to the guy who is the primary suspect of this all. Next up, Rabbi Ben Yosef, a community activist demanding justice for the victims, who takes it upon himself to bring us to some of the murder sites. And finally, we even speak with a family member of a Strangler victim and with Chicago citizens who live in the areas where the Strangler strikes. Let's get to it.
He's still on the loose, nigga? What you mean with a strangler? Nigga's still on the loose? Y'all are you just out here posting videos, Tommy?
We're gonna meet a community leader who's been tracking
Tommy,
down these murders,
hey,
trying
Tommy.
to bring justice.
Tommy
to
good
the
everywhere
victims
though. I
and
ain't
their
gonna lie.
families.
He good
In fact, we're
everywhere
very
though.
close to a
Nigga ain't
murder
worried
site
about
where a murder
nothing.
happened 20 years ago in this alley behind me, and we're gonna look into that. How many of these murders are unsolved?
Pretty much all of them have been unsolved.
And how many are we talking?
We're talking 51 plus.
In 2004, Tamala Edwards was murdered right here in this alley. The killer strangled her, wrapped her up in a comforter that was then tightly bound with duct tape, and placed her in a garbage can, where she eventually was discovered.
A lady by the name of Tamala
Bro,
Edwards.
that shit like. Imagine taking your trash out, gang. You open that bitch, where the broski? Dead body. That shit is
Tightly bound
cold.
with duct tape,
Like,
and placed her in a garbage can, where she eventually was discovered.
I couldn't imagine just taking out my trash, nigga. Nigga, she
A lady by the
dead.
name of Tamala Edwards was found in 2210 in a garbage can just like this in this
I ain't
alley.
lie. I ain't gonna hold you. I kicked that bitch.
Found in 2210.
I'm kicking the trash can. I ain't gonna hold you, bro. What the fuck you mean, nigga? Dead body, nigga. I'm sorry. I'm gonna just keep it a bean. I'm gonna boot that bitch, nigga. What?
The way how these
Sorry.
murders happen is, as you just
I
said,
learned too.
a graphic example of no regard for human life. To put a human life within a garbage can, to say, I'm going to do this to this person.
Like, that's crazy.
This goes to show how horrific and how much an outcry and outrage there should be within this city.
What comes to mind when people say the Chicago Strangler?
I think it's more than one.
We believe that it's more than one strangler.
Why this nigga, bro? Why this nigga look so familiar? All right, my bad. I do believe it's more than one though, too. Though
we believe that it's
niggas getting
more
motivated by other
than one
niggas.
strangler. I would have felt better if it was said mass murder, something to culminate that more than 51 women got killed.
There's certainly not one. We know that for sure, because the 51, there's 21 different DNA profiles.
We found that the overwhelming majority of these homicides involved women who were strangled or asphyxiated, and their bodies were left out of doors, often in abandoned buildings, empty alleyways.
I think something happens to wake that demon up that's in their crania. And once that demon is woken up, then it goes on the bend of killing women.
On the quest to build a profile of who this killer is, let's reference one of the most popular serial killer prediction frameworks, the McDonald Triad, created by psychiatrist John McDonald and used by famous serial killer hunters like Special Agent John Douglas. The three behaviors noted in this theory are obsessive fire setting, persistent bedwetting, and cruelty towards animals. This theory has faced pushback by researchers, but what it hones in on is the question on everyone's mind, which is if we can determine the common factors of serial killers, will we be better able to stop and apprehend serial killers before they go too far?
And they won't stop until that being in their brain.
I ain't gonna lie, the one out of all that I believe. What was the first one?
Back by researchers, but what it hones in on is the question on everyone's mind, which is if we can determine the common factors of serial killers, will we be better? Is the question cruelty towards
fire setting? I don't know. I don't know about that one, but cruelty. I feel like cruelty to animals I feel like that's a telltale one. You out here niggas who be like, you know what I'm saying? You know who niggas who be weird to animals and shit, like especially the young when they kids and shit. That shit's weird. I ain't gonna lie, that shit is weird.
Animals. This theory has faced pushback by researchers, but what it hones in on is the question on everyone's mind, which is if we can determine the common factors of serial killers, will we be better able to stop and apprehend serial killers before they go too far?
And they won't stop until that being in their brains settle down.
Her life matters, that there should be closure for her, that she should not be silenced because of this, that the community should rally around her because her voice has been silenced.
It's very strange to be in a location, the exact location that you know someone lost their life in a struggle. You can say whatever you want about her occupation, but she was another human living life, trying to make money and trying to provide.
Yep.
And to end up in a garbage can is such a horrific way to go.
Disproportionately, these victims are sex workers or have a history of using illegal drugs.
That shit crazy, bro. Motherfucker, throw you
We
in
go
the
to great
trash
lengths to bring you guys inside scoops on a story.
Like your life just trash. Motherfucker, throw you in the trash can, gang. No regard for nothing. Don't know you from nobody. You gonna throw me in a trash can, nigga. Bro,
How sketchy would you say?
this shit crazy out here.
It's up there.
Like how sketchy.
What'd he say yet?
We go to great lengths to bring you guys inside scoops on a story. How sketchy would you say this is?
It's up there.
Like how sketchy rating?
10. Shout out to God.
So is it common in your world to hear women that go missing?
Yeah, you hear stuff all the time, like this 30-some-year-old white lady that they found on Lake Cook Road that was like 13 or 16 weeks pregnant when they found her, but she was missing for like 2 days. And then it was 2 weeks before that, somebody else was found near like 5th and Cicero.
So I think it's a serial killer killing motherfuckers, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think they just don't be talking about it like that. People like body parts and stuff coming up, people be finding about a river, that shit is normal. So it's like, how the fuck is that normal?
He's got to be 45 to 65. He's definitely a city worker, you know, because he knows the neighborhoods, he knows where the whole stroll is, he knows where to dump these girls.
What makes you say for sure city worker?
He understands what neighborhoods he can get away with it in and what neighborhoods he can't.
Well, I'm in shock. Well, I don't know about you niggas, but like I'm in real deal like shock right now. Like I'm trying to think. Like I could never do something like this. So I'm trying to think, bro. How the hell in your right mind? Like what make you go out here and just start? You feel me? Decide to be a fucking mass, mass murderer, mass serial killing ass nigga. Like we really gotta study like our system in America. But I don't know how the serial killers be around other nations and other countries and shit like that. But I know we fucked up out here, nigga. We fucked up, nigga. Like I don't know. We gotta study niggas like this, bro. Like it's our system, though. It's gotta be the way our system started. Some nigga, cause niggas be fucked up, bro. Niggas be fucked up and they be like, look, this shit is wicked. This shit is wicked. Like, what's wrong with a nigga, man?
And he knows probably when the police changes are, shift changes.
A lot of the people that get snatched up is like streetwalkers, right?
Yeah.
So what attracts a streetwalker faster? A white guy with some money, an older white man with some money. So it gotta be an older white male.
But he's also targeting girls that are just hooked on shit out here.
I wouldn't say he gotta be white, but I would say he gotta be like older, for surely.
Older white male.
But he's also targeting girls that are just hooked on shit out here.
We asked a serial killer expert, and what he says, if you want to know the color of the killer, look at the color of the victim, and almost always it matches.
Yeah, I don't think he white. I ain't gonna lie, I don't think he white. That's facts. I don't think he white. That's facts. I don't think a white nigga would be out here killing a whole bunch of black hoes. Nah, that don't make sense. I do think he's an older gentleman, though.
Color
That's facts.
of the killer, look at the color of the victim, and almost always it matches.
That shit
Our
crazy.
most likely scenario is that there's something like 3 multiple victim killers. 2 are African American and 1 is white.
And how do you know that?
It's what the evidence suggests. One of the victims had DNA at her crime scene that was recovered, and it matched another sexual assault. The victim survived and described a man who had a mustache and apparently a fake Hispanic accent, but was definitely Caucasian.
Have you ever experienced danger on the job?
Yeah, so white guy used to like back up, and then literally he would make you take your shoes off, and it would be like dead winter. Like you'll have no shoes in the middle of dead winter trying to like get away.
So it's a way to keep you under control in the car.
I guess so you can, yeah, exactly. So most lately, the thing that a lot of people have been doing is having you get in the back seat, and there's like the child safety lock will be on, so you can't get out.
That's happened to you before?
Yeah.
Is that scary?
Yeah.
What do you do in that situation?
It's like your heart sinks, like you just get that feeling.
You're the highest risk profession for getting.
Bro, you niggas is wicked,
right.
bro.
What does that make you think?
It's a risk, but sometimes people are like, don't feel like they have a choice. So.
Pray for them girls, man. Pray for Shuddy.
Look down the alley over there.
Look at Shuddy hair too. Like I ain't even trying to be like that, but some of these hoes really be like having a lot of potential. But
But sometimes
You
people
feel me?
don't feel like they have a
Feel me?
choice.
She might, hey, see them calf muscles, that motherfucker might be fat, nigga. We need, hey, nigga, hey, nigga, you feel me? You feel me? I'm just saying. You feel me? Hey.
This alley over there, Makalova Williams was killed just out here. She was killed in 2004. Do you know anything about this particular killing or this particular victim?
Yeah, I do. Pretty sad story. She was in foster care most of her young life. It's alleged she was sexually abused in foster care. She would come back up here to Chicago, and then she's an 18-year-old on her own, and she starts in on the streets,
So many victims of sex trafficking, they left home. They were runaways who apparently thought that they had had enough.
Gone. Chill, Tommy.
So this was 20 years ago, so this building may have not...
Yeah, this is much cleaner than it was then. This door was open, and she was actually found in a bag, like a duffel bag, like a laundry bag. Almost impossible. You'd think looking at it, you get a body in there.
Continue to fight for you and stand with you. And we'll do whatever I can to make sure your name is not forgotten.
How do we bridge the gap that people want to work with police, people feel comfortable with police are more equipped to do their job? What do you guys think about some of those things?
I don't think there's a disregard for activists such as myself to work with detectives. I do work with detectives and police on these issues.
Will you be looked at as a snitch if you work with detectives and police?
Could be, but the fact is my job is to bring justice. That's what we stand on.
Let's talk about why Chicago is the perfect hunting grounds for a serial killer to lurk. The truth is, Chicago has an unacceptably low homicide clearance rate. And for reference, a clearance rate refers to the percentage of criminal cases that are solved.
How would you rate the Chicago PD performance in finding the perp?
I think you're always trying to do your best, and you're trying to... No life has, to me and the people I worked with, no life has more or less value than another.
I don't think, it's no way. It's a motherfucker out here catching 50 plus bodies by hand. You know what I'm saying? At the very a very known way of he's a very specific target audience, and you can't go get dog. You know what I'm saying? You can't go get Brody. We can't crack down on who Brody is. We can't lock up. I don't know if he locked up or not. I don't know what they got going on out there, but there's no way. You know what I'm saying? Like a very specific target audience in the area, and this man racks up 50 plus bodies. They say it's more than one, but like, you know what I'm saying? Like, just send the undercovers out there. Tell them little hoes, get your word. Tell some of them police hoes, put the blicky in the back. Go stand on that corner. Word the brisky.
Like, no life has more or less value than another.
I feel like we don't be doing justice. We don't be doing justice.
Historically, Chicago's homicide solve rate has been concerning. In 2016, the city reported a clearance rate of just 21%, which is much lower than the national average of 60% at that time. In other words, 80% of the time, the murderer gets away. That is insane.
Insanity.
The cycle keeps getting worse and worse.
Worse, and it spans, and then we have another 20, 30 years in these cases are not getting solved because of distrust.
I don't see the Chicago Police Department doing anything really proactive, because policemen are just simply afraid that they're going to be prosecuted or thrown on a bus just for trying to do your job.
5,000 police investigations in Illinois are awaiting DNA test results. The backlog is huge, and today at a hearing, lawmakers demanded action on 50 unsolved strangulation cases that could be the work of a serial killer.
My theory is this: the Chicago Strangler has been able to remain undetected for so long because he operated in a perfect storm. First, his victims. He targets women in poor communities working vulnerable jobs like sex work. Sadly, the people he kills don't seem to generate the same uproar that a brutal murder of a suburban lady would.
Yeah, it's because they not looking at. They already probably ain't got a family, or their family don't even know what they doing. So, you know, they out there just already in the streets.
That already have high crime, thereby
You
allowing
feel
his
me? My
crimes to
bad. Let me
blend
quit
in
yapping.
better due to the police being overloaded with cases to work. And finally, these neighborhoods are places where police trust is quite low, which leads to a general lack of collaboration of citizens willing to work with police and give them helpful information to help solve the crime. What do you guys think in the comments?
Have you ever been abducted?
Yeah.
What was that like? What happened?
So I guess there was like 3 brothers, and one of them kidnapped me and brought me back to like this house. I guess they were selling drugs out of because they had like the windows boarded up and, you know, nothing on the door or whatever. And literally kept me there. I was there 3 days, and just like the guy wouldn't leave, and I just had it like I couldn't leave. Like I think I got McDonald's like 1 time. So he ended up leaving, and the door guy or person, whoever was working the spot, I literally just like threw the board and went flying. He started chasing me. There's like ice, middle of winter, no shoes, went flying down the alley. There was this car coming down the alley with this lady, and I'm like screaming like help me or whatever, and she just like kept going. They don't care, just leave the windows up like.
Hey, shorty, hey, motherfuckers get blicked trying to help motherfuckers. hey, look, if it's not my problem, you feel me? I ain't gonna lie, it's not my problem. That's one thing I didn't learn, nigga. I ain't getting caught no crossfire dealing with nothing, trying to help a motherfucker that wouldn't help me. You know what I'm saying? Would you to help me, shorty? I'm out there. Help. Fuck. Hey, fuck. No, nigga. Hey, help that nigga. He got it, though. I'm just, you know. But that's one thing I always learned.
Family members of the victims.
Can't solve nobody else's problem.
Potentially a very painful moment for a lot of these people. I know when my pop died, I didn't really confront the grief for a long time. And I was challenged by a mentor of mine to journal about it, write it down. And it was a very painful process, but it also was very healing. Revisiting the memories, and I think it was a big step in the recovery process of losing somebody. So I'm honored that they're telling us their story, because a lot of news outlets have reached out to them and they're talking to us. So I appreciate that. We're gonna go in and visit them, and we'll see you inside.
Shout out Tommy. Hey, I know my nigga Reverend Hood or whatever my nigga name.
Homicide detective input thing, but the impact of the families, as Mike knows, he tells you, know, and he's taking it to a whole nother level. But all detectives know we have to make those phone calls at 3 o'clock in the morning, and God bless you if you never had to make those calls or face-to-face, not even say calls, really face-to-face meetings for the most part and stuff, where you have to, you know, give this bad news to people and stuff. It's like, that's probably like one of the hardest parts of the job. Can you imagine this young lady, how her life trajectory has changed, you know, not having her mother here since she was 9 years old.
Insane. Insanity. Hey, man.
Well, my mother meant the world to me. I love and I really miss my mom. It's more so in the back of my mind because I really don't try to think about it because it's just too painful just knowing that it is someone out there possibly that's responsible for the death of my mom and also 50 other women. I want her to be remembered as a loving, caring, free spirit, very fun to be around person that loves her children.
Shout out to Shuddy. I ain't gonna lie, bro. If you watching this, I won't smoke with you, nigga. Swear to God, I do you bad, nigga. Come try to do it to me, nigga. God, that's all I say, nigga. Catch me, word to broski. Treat me like you treat these hoes. That's all I say, nigga. Word to bro. Like, bro, somebody gotta off these niggas, man. Somebody gotta off these niggas, man. Little shorty. I'm saying too much. My bad, YouTube. I love you. Somebody gotta off these niggas, bro.
Free spirit, very.
Ain't no way you out here catching 50 bodies, 50 bitches too. I ain't mean to call them bitches and hoes and whatever I may be saying, but it's just my vocabulary. But for real though, like.
Why do you think they specifically targeted your mom?
I think she was just at the wrong place at the
vulnerable,
time.
Bro.
She was probably stalked and watched. It was a familiar place, and I feel like, you know, they knew her or seen
All them
her
streetwalkers
there
is already
before,
vulnerable.
so it's a possibility. They feel like, you know, she was some type of target. So yeah, I think that's why.
What are the consistencies among the victims that the Chicago Strangler is known for?
Definitely strangulation. They have been known for body parts missing, torsos. On the west side of Chicago, it was in...
Fuck you mean torsos, bro?
Parts missing, torsos. On the west side of Chicago, it was in a 2-mile radius, the victims he killed. On the south side of Chicago, it could be up to 3 to 4 miles. South side of Chicago is a lot bigger, and we believe the number was a lot higher on the south side of Chicago.
But it's no way, motherfucker killing somebody within 5 minutes of each other, 10 minutes of fucking the same area, multiple bodies, and we can't crack down on this nigga, man. There's no way. There's no way. There's no possible way, gang. Niggas not really trying. There's no way. With a specific target audience.
That was a professional known in the community to get away with something like a teacher or, you know, something of that sort that's been known in the community. That's what gets me when I look at those deaths. So this person is methodical, and any gaps makes me think he was either in jail or the hospital.
Serial killers should never be off the streets. They all should be locked up and the key thrown away. I don't think that there's no help for them. Teeny weeny component of a cell is buried in their cranium, and it is not going to go away unless there's some type of surgery that can be performed on those type of people.
Is there one of these killers that you think is doing the lion's share of the killing?
Yes, Darren Dion Vaughn.
Darren Dion Van shocked the nation in 2014 when police arrested him for the murder of Africa Hardy in Hammond, Indiana. But what began as a single...
That's a bad bitch. Shout out Africa.
Police arrested him for the murder of Africa Hardy in Hammond, Indiana. But what began as a single case quickly unfolded into something much darker. Van confessed to killing at least 6 more women, leading investigators to his victims' remains in abandoned homes across Gary, Indiana, thereby earning him the nickname of the Gary Strangler. But is it possible that Darren could also be the Chicago Strangler? In his confession, Van hinted that he had been killing for nearly 20 years and his style of killing matches with the MO of the Chicago Strangler. Many experts, like Thomas Hargrove, think that Darren could very well be responsible. Because many of the Chicago murders are near the train line, it's easy to imagine Darren boarding the train from Gary, getting out at a Chicago stop on the south and west sides, giving in to his killing impulse, then returning home to Gary. What's more is in his confession interviews with the police, Van claims to have victims across multiple states.
And Darren Vaughn told police in Hammond, Indiana, he's made a lot of mistakes.
4 or 5 in California. How many in North Carolina?
1, because I ain't stayed long. Texas, I think there's 2. At least 2 in Milwaukee. And there's 3 in Minnesota.
I'll say about 7 in Detroit. How many in Chicago?
Chicago? A lot.
One of the goals of setting out to do this was to try and solve some of these murders.
Oh my God, bro. How do we let niggas do this shit?
4 or 5 in California. How many in North Carolina?
1, because I ain't stayed long. Texas, I think there's 2. At least 2 in Milwaukee. And there's 3 in Minnesota.
I'll say about 7 in Detroit. How many in Chicago?
Chicago? It's a lot.
One of the goals of setting out to do this was to try and solve some of these murders. And so with many of the fingers pointing towards Darren Dion Van, we sent him a letter and we reached out to the Indiana Department of Corrections portal in attempts to reach him. Now, we have no idea if the letter that we sent to Wabash Correctional to Darren made it to him. Maybe it didn't make it past security. So we're still waiting for a response so that we can pursue those leads further.
A theory of why Darren's claims of killing more women wasn't explored further is that Indiana investigators wanted to lock him away with certainty rather than complicate his case by making it federal. However, experts like Detective Mike Hammond would argue that Darren could not have possibly killed all these women. The Chicago Strangler is thought to have killed till 2018, and Darren, arrested in 2014, was already locked away in prison. And secondly, because of the multitude of DNA samples found in the victims, leading Mike to think that we are dealing with multiple killers. The problem is, with many of the victims being prostitutes, being found with multiple DNA samples is to be expected and just further complicates tracking down the killer.
Killing, oh my God. That's crazy. I ain't gonna lie. That shit is wicked. That shit is wicked, bro. I think it's multiple people, cause people like I think it's another Jeffrey Dahmer, bro. Like, cause niggas see that shit, bro. And they think they can do that shit too. Like, that's the thing, bro. Like, it's all a documentary. Some people, but like Shorty said, it's just something in the back of these niggas' head, and some niggas see that shit and be like, oh, this I can do that too. This like the school shooters, like, come on, gang. Them niggas, some of them is not just the first one. Yeah, maybe the first one. Then it's the niggas after that. Like, some of them niggas are motivated by others. I think I forgot one of them said it, but like
the problem is
they are
many of the
motivated
victims
by
being
other
prostitutes being found with
serial
multiple
killers.
DNA samples is to be expected.
Niggas want
It
to
just
be
further
Jeffrey
complicates
Dahmer.
tracking
You know what
down
I'm
the
saying?
killer.
You had a conversation with Darren Dion Van, who some say is the Chicago Strangler, or one of the guys responsible for most of the bodies. Tell me about your conversation with him.
He had no problem with talking about the girls he killed in Gary, Indiana, which is exactly 40 minutes from here. Gary, Indiana is across the street, basically.
Yeah,
right?
Gary down the
But
street from
when he
Chicago.
talked about Chicago, he said he killed so many he can't remember. And to look at this man, this young man in his face, that was part of the armed services, that looked like he wouldn't even swat a fly, to tell you he don't know how many people he killed, it's sickening. And it hits me to the gut. I know, we're talking about 51, I know it's more than 85. There's no connection to all 85, but there's still 85 women that's being killed in Chicago.
We first detected him in Gary, Indiana, where he was responsible for most of a cluster of 15 murders of women. And then the algorithm signaled that there was a very similar cluster occurring in Chicago, a much larger cluster. And the Gary, Indiana murders go back to the 90s, but the cluster in Chicago started around 2001. And we think that's when Mr. Vaughn discovered the joys of public transit. We think he took the Chicago Transit Green Line into the city.
There's no way you could track that.
Had what he called killing urges. Produced a map showing the body recovery sites of these 51, and you'll see a linear pattern of 9 or so victims that occurred right along the Green Line. He has been killing his whole adult life, and he has a difficult time establishing normal relations with women. He speaks to getting killing urges. In fact, you can see his confession at our website. When he gets killing urges, he can't afford his own home, so he was living with his brother.
Tommy, your fucking hat is hard, gang. I ain't gonna lie, I want a hat, Tommy. Shout out to Tommy, bro. I don't know if you seeing this right now, nigga, but that bitch is hard. Nigga, that motherfucker is tough, Tommy. That shit is hard, nigga. I just had to say that. Shout out Tommy. I peeped that bitch. I was like, oh my God, that bitch smooth. Tommy doing it with the merch. His shit lit. His shit hard.
When he gets killing urges, he can't afford his own home, so he was living with his brother and his brother's family. When he would get killing urges, he had to leave. He couldn't stay in the home and possibly harm members of his own family. So he would leave. He would walk around Gary, Indiana, or he would go further afoot. It was a very random murder. They were grabbed and usually killed close to where their bodies were found. Nothing very sophisticated in these murders, just opportunistic.
Just killing shit, dumping it, killing them, putting them away.
Has claimed lives in Chicago.
Look at him straight in his eye. He's not lying. He killed so many women, he don't know how many. Now, do I think he killed all 51? No.
It would be nice to point the finger at Darren Dion Van, accuse him to be the likely suspect of all these murders, get some closure and move on. However, it is impossible that Darren did all these murders. There were 5 murders that happened between 2004 and 2005 that he couldn't have done because he was serving time in an Indiana jail. What he did was, in front of police, he threatened to kill his girlfriend by holding a gas can and lighter in one arm while the other arm was around her neck. There are an additional 5 murders from 2009 and 2013 that he couldn't have done because he was serving a 5-year prison sentence in Texas for a brutal sexual assault. So there are at least 10 murders from this period that Darren could not have done. This further supports Detective Hammond and Thomas Hargrove's theory that there are multiple killers involved, but unfortunately, it also further complicates this deadly mystery.
When was the last time you were contacted by police regarding your mother's death?
I was never contacted. They contacted my grandmother one time, and it was for identification purposes. When I got older, I contacted them, and they didn't even know anything. They barely knew who she was, and said like, "Oh, the case is the file. We delete the files or something like that, or they don't carry the files."
What does that make you think?
They just don't care. Cause I don't think it's a complex case.
And she be wrong to go out there and get the blicking. But you don't care about me though. You don't care about me. She, like she say, they just don't care. You don't care about her. She be wrong to get out there and just get the blicking photo.
Come from where
come on, bro.
Where she frequently
Our system's so garbage for real though.
I don't feel like
Shitball, man.
hard to find out, you know what I'm saying?
Fail the people all the time. They fail the people, man. We the people. Fuck no, it ain't we the people, nigga.
Some of the comments I've gotten is
We Elon Musk, we Donald Trump. Man, say that, nigga.
Middle class, that the murders have already been solved right now. But because a lot of the women are black women, minority women that are working the streets, no one cares. The cops aren't going to bother. What do you feel about that?
Yeah, so in general,
That's facts.
Chicago is pretty low on their success rate of solving any kind of murder. It's like 20 or 30%. It's really low. I don't think it's necessarily what color you are. It's just that they know that a lot of those people have like left their homes or whatever.
Yeah.
Their families
They don't got no family.
Binges, missing, you know, so no one will be exactly looking for them right away.
So no one's really sure where they are. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and like a lot of people don't have families, so if they were to die, who's gonna know anyway?
You ever thought that your mom was got by the Chicago Strangler?
Part of me yes and no. Like a part of me feel like maybe it could have been somebody she knew, and then a part of me feel like it could have been a serial killer, Chicago Strangler.
So we've heard about the crimes Darren may have committed, but what do we know about who this guy is? Little about his childhood is known other than he grew up in Indiana, and in 1991 he enlisted in the Marine Corps but received an other than honorable discharge after only 2 years in the service. The specific reasons for his discharge have not been publicly disclosed. What we do know about Darren is this: he has a notable criminal background. However, there is something potentially disturbing that we uncovered. According to a confidential source, he has been arrested over 75 times. However, most of his rap sheet has been redacted. Why? With guys like Jeffrey Dahmer and Ted Bundy, we have enough information about them to make a Netflix series. But when it comes to Darren, there's barely any information out on his past on the internet, and what is documented has been censored. Why?
What were her injuries, if you don't mind me asking? Was she shot?
No, she was strangled and just beat up real bad to the point where it damaged her brain severely. She was on life support for 2 years before my grandfather decided to pull the plug.
I can't imagine what that's like going into a room with a family member that you love. They're disfigured, they're beaten
So
up.
she fake survived though. But she couldn't. She probably wasn't, you know. Bro. Fuck is going on?
Is a notable criminal background. However, there is something Dahmer barely.
What the fuck was that, nigga?
A family member that you love, they're disfigured, they're beaten up, and having a
Big Mama. Hey, come talk to me.
Tiana, so does this alley look familiar to you?
Yeah, it does.
And what's going through your head right now?
Just memories and stuff with my mom. These are my last memories with her. We used to stay down here and go to the grocery store across the street.
So you used to live close by?
Yeah.
Okay. I guess what's running through your guys' heads right now?
So I'm looking from a cold case perspective. What year would have been? What year was it?
99.
99.
Yeah.
So, you know, several time ago. So much of this has changed. I can see now about 10 video cameras. Probably weren't here at the time. There are probably buildings that were here, right, that were multi-unit buildings. So I want to know if I could go back and find out what buildings were there, were they multi-unit buildings, who lived there, and you can do that. It's a lot of work, but it can be done. You know, I'd be really wanting to look at the specifics of where she was discovered exactly, like within as many feet as I can, and things like that. So this is a tough place because it's pretty desolate.
2 questions. One for each of you is, at any given time, how many murders could a homicide detective be looking at once?
It varied from 13 to 25, 30 at times. But then, you know, because I worked on a cold case, I would take on a lot of cases.
So there is a perception that if you're poor or if you're black, that the police don't care as much about the murder. As a black detective, can you give the other side of the table?
Yeah, well, I get the other side of the table, and some of that is accurate, you know. So I'm not here, you know. I mean, I love the police department, you know. I mean, it's gas, but I tell people all the time, but I'm not a spokesman for the police department. I mean, you know, there's some dog asses on the police department. There's some dog asses at the post office. Why you didn't get your mail on time? You know, that exists in every line of work. The police just seem to be highlighted and spotlighted more and stuff, obviously, and you know, for good reason in some cases.
I mean, does it kind of blow your mind that someone
crazy. From
could
a
potentially
detective.
get away with killing 50, 60, 70 women and not get caught?
That shit baffles me.
It saddens me because it's like, how can you take a job and, you know what I'm saying, not even care about doing it properly, and especially when it comes to, you know, human life and women.
If you could say a message to the Chicago Police Department, what would you tell them?
I would just tell them, like, if it's possible, take a second, you know, look, you know, I know you got other things going on and other things that you do, but this is just important.
If you could sit across from the Strangler, what would you say to the guy?
Yeah, I would just ask, like, why? Like, took my mom away, like, and it's crazy asking that because it reminds me of a conversation I had with my dad when I was younger. Do the person, you know, you feel like the person who did it, you know, do they deserve to die or whatever? And I was telling him, like, no, I don't feel like, you know, they deserve to die or whatever. And, you know, I was young back then and stuff like that. But I, you know, now that I'm older, you know, adult, you know, I kind of still feel the same way, you know.
Did listening to detectives talk today change your perception at all?
Yeah, I know they have a hard job to do, but, you know, I just still can't, I still hold resentment towards them or whatever because it is my mom, and I feel like they didn't do everything that they could have done to try to solve the case, and I feel like the case wasn't too complex. It was things that I feel like that could have been done that wasn't done, like, and I feel like they didn't care because of race. And
do you think closure would make you feel better?
Yes, closure would definitely make me feel better. It won't bring justice because my mom isn't here, but definitely just knowing, you know, what happened.
She chill as hell. Shout out her
what
though.
happened and why they
She's
did
very.
this.
She
Even
could
if they say,
tell,
like,
you
oh,
know.
I did it because I was hired.
It affected her.
You know, I'll take that. I'd rather, you know what I'm saying,
She seemed to.
you know what I'm saying, partially
came to her own.
Something on the plate than nothing at all.
A young woman out here.
Folks, the reality is there are still many cases, upwards of 50 to 70 women, that have not been solved. And our goal is to bring some closure to these cases. So if you have any connections to the Indiana Department of Corrections or ways of speaking to Darren Dion Van or know anything about these murders,
I got connections to them niggas. Fuck them niggas forever and always. Niggas can't catch me. They wanted me while I was there. They couldn't get me.
that might help solve them, please reach out to me at TommyGMcGee123@gmail.com because our goal is to help these cases become solved. And perhaps, with you, the audience, we can crowdsource this happening. So email me, reach out if you have any leads. Thank you for joining me on this episode, and see you next week.
That'll be Tommy. That's crazy. Tommy, what are you looking for them guys for? Doctors and patients who United Healthcare is why? Let's just ask him why he's looking for that. I ain't gonna lie, dog. Shout out. It's not shout out Luigi, but he really did that. Like, that's crazy. Niggas just different. I ain't gonna lie. My bad if I be coming off insensitive It's just who I am. I don't think I wouldn't say I'm insensitive. I'm not gonna sit on a video, like, and you know, like, I'm here to, you watching me because I'm trying to entertain you too. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not trying to be insensitive towards nobody. I may come out that way. I don't try to do that at all. I'm just, vibing, being me. But I appreciate y'all boys. That shit is wicked. What's that nigga name? Darren Dion Van. Pull up on me. We can throw the hands. We can shoot the ones. I'll beat your head in, nigga. You feel me? Real shit. Ain't no way you out here killing 50 plus bitches. Like, that is crazy to me, man. Then they talking about 50 plus cold cases. No effort. They don't try. They don't care. No effort. They don't. I love y'all boys. I gotta go to sleep. It's fucking 3 in the morning where I'm at. What time is 2:30 where I'm at, man. 2:30. Be grinding for y'all boys, man. You gotta let it grind. Just be vibing. Shout out y'all boys, man. Shout out to me, G. Chase your dreams, gang. Wow. This shit powerful right here. This shit powerful, man. Stay safe out there, man. You got a sister. You got a mother. Cherish her. Keep her out the streets. Hey, I really don't want my sister to ever get into. My sister always been older than me. Bro, let me get to the point in my life where I'm set. My sister ain't gonna need a nigga, and that's forever that. I swear to God, she'll never need a nigga. Like, fuck a nigga, man. You can have a kid, but fuck a nigga. I give you everything you ever wanted. Fuck that nigga, you feel me? Don't let that nigga tell you shit. Like, swear to God, but I'd be cool with my sister, bro, cause she older than me, bro. But a few of these niggas I didn't want it to hook. You feel me? Like, now that I'm older too, I really hook some shit. They ain't playing me, boy. Ooh, let a nigga try me. Love y'all boys, gang. Let me get out of here. Love y'all. Appreciate you. Chase your dreams.